This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
You looking for a police drama with tough cops, gorgeous dames, and international intrigue with a hero?
Lieutenant Revan, Police Squad.
Who's tough yet suave?
Can I interest you in a nightcap?
No, thank you. I don't wear them.
You want a movie starring Leslie Nielsen? Yeah! With an all-star cast?
You bet you do.
Why? It's a riotous roller coaster of a screwball comedy. The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. Premieres March 3rd on HBO. The best movie.
Hey ho, let's go.
Hello, let's go. Was that Jeff Goldblum doing Christopher Walken? I couldn't.
No, that was Christopher Walken doing the Ramones.
The Ramones. Oh.
Hey ho,
Shoot him
Let's
in the
go.
back. Now.
Hey ho, let's go. Lobotomy.
His watch
I don't
is
want
up
to be
your
a pinhead
ass.
no more.
Oh, yeah.
I just met a nurse that I could go for.
now I gotta tell you, I believe I want to be sedated.
By the way, guys, I faked every orgasm.
Yes, but how'd you get in here? I'm a locksmith and I'm a locksmith.
Naked Gun is just wild how it's like everybody I knew, had seen it. My grandparents chuckled at these movies. My martial arts buddies were like, still best spoof movie ever. It's just like, it has always, earlier crowds were digging it because, Leslie Nielsen is now stepping into Shatner mode where now he's doing everything he became infamous for, but now it's funny. Not late 90s, 2000s crowd are like, who is this guy? We love him. We'll see anything he's in. He's who we're going to. If it's not Chris Farley,
anything except dead and dead and living it.
Yeah.
You guys didn't like that?
I thought it was. It was okay. I was a little more depressed with his role in Repossessed.
Yeah.
I can go with you on that one.
I'm gonna go with this though. You gotta.
You ever see the Space Terror parody he did? I forget the name.
Oh yeah,
2001: A Space Odyssey.
No. Like,
the creature wasn't
travesty.
That's what it was. The creature wasn't. Yeah. Sorry.
I got to thinking about like what Police Squad, what Naked Gun came from, which was Police Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which has the thing of six. We're gonna just do 6 episodes of this show. You got the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams, who God bless him, just passed away.
I was just like depressed. I was just like, could we have timed this any worse? It's just like
I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was the Zucker brother that passed away, but
no,
it was Abrams.
Yeah, and all I remember is like just thinking, like my mom said, my mom and my dad, we would watch Police Squad when I was a little kid because I loved it. I loved the sight gags and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to find out later that it was based on 2 shows, M Squad and Felony Squad.
Yes.
And M Squad, if you watch the beginning of M Squad, it's the same, like the same opening as Police Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Including the Abraham Lincoln part?
No.
Not that close. I know what you mean, where it's just like that whole it's coming off the heels of other stuff like the Defenders and Dragnet, Perry Mason. It's trying to do that. Something important is happening right now. Bum, 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 bum,
It had a very late 60s, early 70s type of feel to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
But
glad you
this-
brought up M Squad. I mean, there is definitely, much like the Zuckers and Abrahams, do with all their Airplane and other movie spoofs, half the time they're not changing much. They're literally taking every other thing and then just adding little other things. It's like, okay, so if you don't laugh at the deadpan delivery of just this absurd dialogue, then we're gonna still sneak in something else. I mean, I really had a lot of fun going through Police Squad. It was a blind spot. I had known about it. I had seen clips, and I could never find a copy. And
And
I made time.
I was just gonna say, I thought it was just a canceled show. I didn't know it was planned for just 6 episodes.
Yeah, they wanted to do a movie.
Me neither.
And they were like, well, Eisner, who's the head of ABC, was like, well, we can't do a movie, but we'll give you 6 episodes. So there were 4 that were aired, and then the other 2 were dumped as summer repeats. But
and
it's one of
kudos
those.
to him. Like every opening is completely different. It is always just like, what? Just like it gets you. It's just like, whoa, what the hell
They really-
happened?
And their guest stars die at the beginning of each episode.
Yeah, Shatner's
Yes.
one of them, and he gets fucking blown, poisoned. And you're just like, what
Yeah,
the
he
hell?
gets poisoned. I think Florence Henderson gets shot in her kitchen. Lauren Green gets dumped out of a car dead. George Stanford Brown, I think, gets
Lauren
like
Green.
shot.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Oh, there's so many others, but
There was another one. I was like, there were
Well,
so many.
there were 6 total, so
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else.
I gotta.
Joe-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what you also got to take into consideration at that point in time, ABC was the network for comedy.
Yeah.
That mid to late 70s into the early 80s, they had a lot of things that they were working on, whether it be something, a sitcom like Three's Company or
Mhm.
little comedic sides with the Love Boat or even Fridays.
Yeah.
Just things they were doing. ABC was the comedy mecca.
Yes.
And understandably so. They had blockbuster show after blockbuster show. You went to ABC specifically to get your laughs. Police Squad came in at a good time.
Mhm.
But the reason why I think the reason why it's lasted so long is because it sneaks up on you. But everything, it was only 6 episodes, so if you missed them, you missed out. But on the other side of the equation, you have you have to be very careful. You have to watch them very carefully, because even if something serious is going on in the foreground, in the background, there's bound to be something that
Yeah.
utterly bizarre.
I
It's
remember
not just stupid, it's not just in your face. What the hell,
one thing stands out is like when they're carrying a dead body out of a building, and those guys are standing there talking. You're seeing this dead body being carried out for a long time. It's just like a long line of that stretcher being carried out. And then finally, you're seeing the last guy at the other end of the stretcher coming out as they're going into the building.
Yeah, and then they're walking over the chalk prints, and like one's a body outline, and the other one's a hieroglyphic.
Yes.
And then the positions of those chalk outlines, like they'd be on the wall.
Yeah, just
in the
right
water.
in front of you. You're just like, that's not how this works, but that's funny. But
And
the
I'm gonna
Florence,
have
go ahead.
I'm gonna also have to say that the Wayans brothers got inspiration. Had to have gotten inspiration from Police Squad for the opening scenes from "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker."
Yeah,
Probably. I mean, they watched a bit of everything. They were always seeing what they could do better. And the Florence Henderson episode that you bring up, Terror in the Neighborhood, some people doing the trivia for this episode noticed that in her first scene, there's an unlabeled bottle of cooking oil, and they believe that's a nod to when she was a spokesperson for Wesson cooking oil.
Yeah.
But I love the lines in that episode when they're questioning the ballet dancer. It was like she's talking to the suspect, "Look out, he's got a knife," and Look how he's got a club. He's got a signed
He's got
Picasso.
herpes.
He's got
And wasn't that the girl from the Waltons or something? Or Eight is Enough? Or
it might have been her. Let's see. Who was Jill, the ballet teacher? Connie Needham? Yeah, I think so. She's from Eight is Enough.
Eight is Enough. That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Fame.
She in relation to Hal?
You know, they're given the amount of stunts. I'm surprised Hal Needham didn't helm any episodes. I gotta say though, Joe Dante. This was around the time when he was, getting good with Spielberg and, jumping on the wagon to a bigger career post New World Pictures. But I thought both his episodes that he helmed weren't shabby at all, including one where they're investigating a boxer and it's making fun of every other boxing drama.
Yeah, the scene where he's sitting on the bench and the guy's pasting on his fake injury.
Yeah, and it's just, and I mean, just again, absurd. I mean, the Lauren Green episode was wild because the broken promise is just because that whole setup, you're just like, wait, what? And there's a bank robber who shot a clerk, and then another staff member shot him, and the autopsy shows differently, and it just goes cuckoo.
Well, and then they tested by killing other people.
Yeah. This is like, what the hell?
So once shot twice? No, twice shot once.
So they did their own
who's on first?
Yep, who's on first.
They do the who's on first. Then there's another gag they recycle for Naked Gun Free where it's cigarette. Yes, I know.
Yes, I know.
That ran through every episode. He was always offering somebody a cigarette, and they'd also, yes, it is.
That's right. And
there was also that one from the series I also made into the Naked Gun, which was, is this some kind of bust?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it's quite impressive.
So many of those. I mean, I'm surprised, given how stuck up the ratings board always was, that no one had a hissy fit over the part in one of the openings where someone gets set on fire. It's just so absurd and funny. It's like
it came out in '82. I can remember watching the show with my grandparents in the room, and they just did not get it.
I wouldn't be surprised. It is one of those, I mean, and Peter Lepis, Mission Impossible himself is here. I'm sure half the time people are looking at these guys and they're like, yeah, they're supposed to be serious. They've always played serious. It's like, well, it's not that show, guys.
Well, I love when they're doing, like, they're posing as the key guys, and they're like, what do you think, Norberg? Well, how about this, Frank? A free key for every 3. Yes, will it be a limited time offer only? It's like the two conversations are so disjointed, but when you're watching it, you get the joke. It's like
yeah,
he's thinking one thing, he's thinking another, but it's just the way that the meshing of it is so good.
Good timing, good staging. You don't feel like they're just relying on the comedic timing to carry it. It's like everybody is getting how absurd it is and how you can't play it like you're in on it. Like you have to be oblivious. That's what makes it amusing. Some of the other guests in the Guilty Alibi and in the Shatner episode were also pretty wild. There was Joyce Brothers as Dr. Joyce Brothers.
Well, the one that surprised me the most was Spencer Milligan, the dad from Land of the Lost.
Oh God!
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Yeah, he was in there. Marvin Miller does really good as the narrator, I think. Yeah, it's just.
Well, and you bring up something like in every episode they had the guy who was the informant, and so Drebin would go and ask him a question, then somebody else like a clergyman or a priest or a
those were great.
Dick Clark shows up in one.
Yeah, who hasn't questioned the guy?
Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda. Jeez. It's just crazy good.
I can remember them like wanting to make the movie, like they were going to make the movie, The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, and I was going to myself, oh man, I hope this works well, because it was so, it was just such this little part of time that show was on, and
6 years later,
make a movie
after the show comes out, and they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" It's like, "Yep, they're pretty sure."
6 years later, and then the other films that followed were 3 years apart. What was it? 3? I think it was 2 or 3 years apart.
2, yeah, it was 2 because the smell of 2.
2 was Smell of Fear.
Smell of Fear. 3 is
33 and a half. Yeah, it's just,
yep.
You'll love this. I was listening to Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, and he interviewed that director, Peter Siegel, and he did a total like 180 on his career. He's been doing the My Spy comedies with Christian Shaw and Batista, but apparently the Zuckers, they saw the HBO shorts he made back in the 90s, and that's what got him the gig to do Part 3. And he still looks at it as his best of all the wacky comedies he's done. And at that time, he was just basically just doing sizzle reels with Chris Farley, Tom Arnold, Jim Carrey. He was in that knit group of people. Like, had he just hung out there, you also wouldn't have had Judd Apatow and some of the other guys get a career boost.
Yeah.
It was interesting how all these, no one really talks about that, which is a shame. They often just talk about whatever comedian was big in the 80s or 90s. It's like, I'd like to know how all these other guys got all these different gigs and are still working on it today, even if it's in the form of a sitcom. Like, how did they embrace comedy movies other than just being the hired guns, And same thing with the Zuckers, It's like, and Abrahams, who would have guessed that, they'd go on to do even wackier movies and other National Lampoon co-productions, and even Ghost of all things. It's just like, that's Hot Shots. What a weird but wacky career.
I'm happy they did Hot Shots.
Weren't they the guys behind Kentucky Fried Movie as well?
Yep.
Yes, they were.
That was their first
there you go.
movie.
Yep.
There you go.
That was the first movie they did. And
If Mel Brooks wasn't doing it, if the Wayans weren't doing it, they were pretty much doing it throughout the 80s and 90s.
Well, you got to think too. They were that movie, Kentucky Fried Movie, is to me like the blueprint for what Airplane would be. And then they go to TV and they do, Police Squad, and then they do, Hot Shots, and they did Brain Donors too, I think.
I think you're right. When we looked it up, it was like, yeah, that it all runs together. And that's just it. Like, when you look at their resume, it does make sense why they went on it. Like, they were the only ones who was just like, we're generating these amounts of laughs.
Well, and they kind of cornered the market for a little while on that too, for that type of humor.
Yeah. I could remember being like, I'm like 7 years old. I remember watching it, and I remember my mother and my father like laughing hysterically, and I would laugh. I mean, it's that thing that sort of that domino effect of laughter.
Yeah,
and I hadn't seen it for a long time. And A&E, when they were good, we had a thing called
no kidding.
They ran the 6 episodes for I think maybe a month or two on their TV schedule. And then they had a thing on, I think it was Trio TV called Brilliant But Canceled.
Yes.
And they ran it on that too, But I mean, the Naked Gun movies I think are funny. I think the third one kind of
slows at the third.
Yeah.
That's actually my second favorite. I found that part 2 kind of had a lot of filler and dead space.
I was getting a little bit depressed watching 33 1/3 because so many people in that were passed away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the people making brief appearances. I mean, I was
just blown away by the Untouchables opening. I'm just like, wow, you really just spoofed that entire carriage chase at the.
Or he's picking up a quarter as he's shooting. Or a nickel or whatever.
Like, what in the hell? I do think the first is the best though. Like, you'll find this funny. They've been showing it for the last few years a lot on MLB Network.
Oh yeah, because
it's in a stadium.
Yeah.
And I'm just, me and my dad are always guffawing. I'm like, it's got very little to do with baseball, but I'll take it. It's a gem.
I can remember being in the movie theater watching it with my friend Humphrey, and we were doubling over in laughter at the beginning when when they're doing the whole all the bad guys are meeting in the one room, and he says, "I'm Frank Drebin of the Police Squad. I don't want to catch any of you guys ever coming into the U.S." He falls, like he takes the Khomeini's thing off, and it's one thing underneath. It's just it's Gorbachev. He says, I knew it was fake, you know.
Well, and even Seth McFarlane's made, on Family Guy's made fun of the, he's a guy doing a parody of a parody with the police siren thing, and then with that scene where Stewie's in there and he beats everybody up and then falls out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish the best for his whole thing, and I hope it's not just let's imitate all the gags of the earlier movie.
Well, he's supposed to be Frank Drebin Jr., but I'm thinking about it. Frank Drebin Jr. was born in '94, so he should be 30 years old. And it's gonna be Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, they might do like a timeline. I don't know what they'll.
Or they might make a joke about that and like say he smokes too many cigarettes or something. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
That Family Guy clip where Stewie's going around and they were taking the Naked Gun theme, that was wild.
I think the thing that was cracks me up is like you can tell like at some points like when he's driving, because I just had my car washed and the guy's inside the car washing it while he's driving it.
Oh yeah.
Every time he has to stop his car.
There's when he's doing that
a garbage can.
There's that one inept arrest, and meanwhile, like there's another car crashing in the background and all this other mayhem. And I do recall even Good Times Home Video back when that was a thing would do, funniest scenes from, movies and TV, and they would sneak a few Naked Gun scenes in there along with, other stuff like, Family Ties and Cosby Show.
And even Police Squad and Naked Gun, they're even making fun of like the backgrounds that they have to use for the backs of cars, the blue screen in the back.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of that and putting in all kinds of crazy
stuff.
It
looks fake, so we're going to just shove it in your face, just let you realize, can you believe they still do this? It's just rear projection.
I think that was supposed to be like a thing because remember those cop shows back in the 60s, late 50s or 60s? Instead of them drive, they would just put they would put a green, like a screen in the back and run the footage, as they were doing it. So I think that's what always cracks me up about that,
especially when the James Bond movies go to town.
I was in the Italy section of town, and if you see the back, it's like the Colosseum and it's Roman back.
Yeah.
No, I think honestly, now that you mentioned it, Police Squad probably got me the one that's interested in trying to pay attention to things like the backgrounds and the, and what's going on in the background.
And I think that's just it. Like they probably didn't even want to use it, but they knew inevitably they were going to probably be asked to use it because budget and everything. It's like, so if you don't like it, you might as well, mock it.
Yeah, and on the inverse of that you have to tip your cap to the actors themselves. Alan North, Leslie Nielsen, they were able to keep straight faces while absolute chaos was going on behind them. Yeah, and you really, so you have to pay attention, but they really couldn't in order to get through the scene.
Well, every episode ended with a freeze frame, but it wasn't. That's quite a freeze frame.
No, that's a good point too. I mean, who else could have done that very well? It's just like you have to be so in on the joke, but not on the nose, if that makes sense. Like it's just, and you see it now with movies nowadays, and it's just like, I get it, but it's not funny because won't let it breathe,
And I was thinking about Leslie Nielsen too. He was playing his own straight man.
Yeah. He only had 20 years of already doing disaster movies and made for TV legal thrillers and being evil corporation guys. And I know Mystery Science Theater fans are already going to go, oh, remember as the sleazy politician in City on Fire. Yes, there's that. But that's just it. He's been doing it, so he's already got a handle on it. And it's just like...
We got to think, too, he was there in the early days of television, so you have to think he was doing all these straight edge roles. He gets the role for Airplane, and he steals he almost, I think him and Peter Graves and Robert Stack steal the movie out from everybody.
They really do.
And Lloyd Bridges,
Lloyd Bridges. I mean, the fact that these guys were all comfortable, really does say a lot. It's just, and kudos to them, like, again, when people do stuff like this nowadays, it's just too like forced upon you where you're like, okay, it was funny, but not anymore. Now that you're just breathing down my neck, saying, "See what I did there? See what I did there? Yes, I saw it. Just fine."
Well, they still got a cat. Go ahead, JJ.
No, go ahead. No, I'm sorry, man. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say they still got to capture. I mean, the spoofs that are coming out nowadays they just don't have it. They just don't have that magic.
We all love Black Dynamite here, but see, like that was its own kind of thing. Like it's like it's a good double feature with some of the other blaxploitation parodies, but it's also its own thing. Like, see, here's what Black can do that's just an outrageous kung fu move, instead of something you already saw in another action parody. And I think that's just it too. Like this is kind of an action parody, but it's more than just let's throw in a absurd stunt, or explosion. There's also, I mean, and Priscilla Presley, bless her, like who would have guessed? You're gonna get the widow of Elvis, and you're gonna put her in this movie, and she's really solid for what she's doing. Like she's just playing off him, and it's just even in the sultry moments of these, like it still is, even though they're PG-13 movies, they're not to the point of like it is kind of like Austin Powers, like there's something for adults and there is something for the kids. They can still guffaw. It's not hard to decipher.
I forgot about Black Dynamite, but I was thinking more along the lines because Black Dynamite was pretty good, but I was thinking more along the lines like the Date movie or the other Epic movie. Or
those two guys doing all the Scary Movie knockoffs were just insufferable. I'm just like, okay. Yeah. Like the Zuckers even helped out in like I think part 3 and 4 Scary Movie, but I was just
they did the first one. They did the first one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was one that has Charlie Sheen in it.
Yeah, but part 3 had Leslie Nielsen, and I think that was Zuckers too.
That's the one that had Charlie Sheen, right? Because I remember Leslie Nielsen being in that.
Let's see, Zucker Brothers.
Well, it was a play. They start out playing off of like Mel Gibson's Sign movie.
Scary Movie 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the part I loved about that is when Karen Mannheim's like trying to describe what happened with his wife. She gets sick. She's like, okay, let me put it this way. See this hot dog? This is your wife. She breaks that. This is your wife now.
No, that is a deep cut. Like when just again, all these lineups are just always just so outrageous. Where you're just like, how did anyone even storyboard such absurdity? And I mean, all the other stuff that they'd done, is just like, Ruthless People was a big cable TV favorite, and he also worked on Basketball.
Yes.
Oh,
I totally spaced. People always go, oh yeah, one of the other movies the South Park guys worked on, but David Zucker was one of those. Now, it seems like they've been pretty cool, other than that awful one of their final movies they did called American Carol. I won't say any more about that.
I never saw that.
It had a political bent to it, didn't it? I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, it had a very political bent to it. It was a lot like A Christmas Carol, but it was done with somebody who was the Michael Moore archetype.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I watched it. I've seen it a few times. It's okay for what it is, but being
Michael
able to see like Robert Davi in a role that
Dennis Hopper as a judge, and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
it was basically like a Make-A-Wish idea for some conservative actors.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much. John Voight, even freaking James Woods. Yeah. Leslie Nielsen was in there also, but yeah, even James's favorite, Kevin Sorbo. I went there. But yeah, it was just like, it was one of those where I'm just like, so what are we making fun of? Like this, if with a little more restructuring, this could be an amusing like Team America type movie. And I'm just like, I like Kevin Farley and other stuff, younger brother of Chris, but I'm just like, this just sounds preachy, crappy.
Yeah.
Well, I heard it had a political bent, so I wasn't really interested in checking it out. So,
I mean, we've seen other political satires be very funny. I mean, like we mentioned Team America, where they're just making fun of hypocrisy and just other stupid stuff. And
what was that speech they gave? Dicks and assholes and
Yeah.
Pussies, yeah.
Pussies, dicks, and assholes. Yep.
Making fun of patriotism and all that shit. I mean, that I get that that's all hard to do, and I do have to say, I mean, my hats are still off to the Zuckers though for wanting to start that whole show because they were filmmakers first, and then they grew into, hey, what do we really like making fun of? Just very imperfect movies that Hollywood keeps producing. So let's just go with it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking, I kind of wondered if that was like the first spoof television show, but it wasn't. I mean, you think about it, Get Smart was a spoof television
Get Smart
show.
was kind of the big pinpoint.
Yeah, Captain Nice was a
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, and how about the fact that, I mean, you mentioned Kentucky Fried Movie earlier. People often space on Top Secret. And
yes, Top Secret,
Top
vastly
Secret is a
underrated.
great movie.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
it has Peter Cushing in it.
Yep.
Yes, it does. And some of the best sight gags I have ever seen in my life. The one with the magnifying glass and the telephone, those kill me every time.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one I love is Michael Goh saying, "I dug a tunnel out of here," and he slides the rock away. It's like a fully functional tunnel with like a highway going through it. You know.
It's already dug up and right there, and you're like, "What?" Okay.
And you know the scene with the car in the television show, the scene where they're tearing the car apart, and then they got to put it back together, and it looks like a completely different car.
My favorite part of that is like Norberg taking the cocaine, like getting addicted to it. Oh, these guys are pretty good. Shine little glowworm, shine on, shine.
or to tear the whole car apart and find out that drugs are in the glove compartment.
Oh my god! Yeah. And every time that they do what they did, much like the Hot Shot movies, I do have to say every villain in all these Naked Gun movies, even if you don't remember them, they do like to make fun of how they're gonna monologue. And half the stuff they're monologuing is just so mundane. You're like, what? It's like, you killed time just to tell me that?
Ricardo Montalban is so.
He was very well staged. Yeah.
But he can't keep. You could tell he's trying to. He hears Leslie Nielsen. And he's like, Cuban? No, Dutch Irish. My mother was from Wales. You know.
The whole thing with the pen and the fish.
Oh yeah,
and in the fish. Oh my god,
the Japanese fighting fish. He's like, you know, and they had Mr. Pap Schmear.
Yeah, he showed up in 2 movies.
Oh,
he's
that's
the first one.
Yeah,
and I think the second one.
Yeah, he dies in the second one.
No, he dies in the third one.
Well, he gets blown up.
Yeah, Pap Schmear. The thing that cracked me up the most is like if you watch. Leslie Nielsen had been doing television for a long time, so you got to realize, you know, he'd done comedy, but he'd been playing like, you know, I can remember being in How to Commit Marriage with Bob Hope and Leslie and Jackie Gleason, which is a bad career move.
Poor Jackie Mason. Lately, we've been talking about
Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason was in
Jackie
that.
Gleason.
I got something with Leslie Nielsen that goes back to the 50s where he's on, I think it was the 50s, where he's on some sort of old sci-fi show where he's on a spaceship, you know, and can't remember what it was called.
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, no, that was the movie, but he was but he was in a television show, you know, like those old 50s sci-fis where the cardboard sets and all that stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Let's look up Leslie sci-fi show.
But then, you know, and then he'd be on things in the 70s like Day of the Animal, where he's calling everybody
Day of the Animals. Oh my god.
Or he got Columbo. Or he was doing like,
you see the Kojak episode where he's like ripping people off and then gets shot by someone he just robbed at an airport. It's just outrageous episodes. There's Wrongfully Accused, where he made fun of the
Fugitive movie.
Fugitive, yeah.
Among other things. I'm trying to look up Space Show with Leslie.
Like a 50s television show. Like, you know, those serialized
Buzz
things.
Corbett?
Huh?
Was it Buzz Corbett?
I can't remember what it was called.
That's the only thing I can think of right now. Trying to Captain
I'm
Video.
seeing Space Patrol, but I'm not.
That might have been it.
But I'm
That
not
might be
seeing-
it.
But I'm not seeing him on there. Let me see. Space Patrol. Damn you, IMDb.
No, I
Keep
think you got it. I think it was Space Patrol.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing Safety Patrol. Wait, no. That was a different comedy he did for ABC. That was wacky. Weird Al's in that as well. We already talked about The Creature wasn't nice, but that was a parody. But you're talking
Here's
about
the thing that cracks me up. They tried doing a TV show like Police Squad on NBC called The Last Precinct.
I don't
Yes.
remember that
Yeah.
at all.
Adam West, Ernie
Yeah.
Hudson.
Was there something called Danger Theater with Adam West was in one segment and then like Diedrich Bader was in another segment?
Yeah, that was later. That was like 92, 93. But yeah, Last Precinct is 86. But yeah, I mean, they tried it with other stuff lately. Like I thought Andrew Tribeca was pretty good that last season.
That's
not
that
so
one
much.
with Felicia Rashad. I was trying to remember the name of it.
You mean what's her name? Rashida Jones. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, it can be done. I mean, Psych definitely does a bunch of Naked Gun type send-ups, but
Yeah.
then there are other ones where you're just like, okay, it's just the mockumentary style. It doesn't really have much to do with anything. Yeah, no, I miss Leslie Nielsen.
I think we all would miss him. I mean, just because he was funny even off camera. Like I remember him having that little fart machine he always had with him. Like he would always carry a little fart machine with him.
I did.
So if he was doing an interview, he would start like pressing this fart machine, and it would be like, excuse me, like something like that.
And
So
the
it was
fact
funny,
that he was deaf,
yeah,
he had hearing aids all the time, and so you would have thought that might be, I don't want to say shame
Well,
anyone or anything, but you would have thought there'd be like some miscommunication or mishearing of lines. But yeah, no, he read everything and just knew how he wanted to sound.
And he played Mr. Magoo,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so he had to play blind.
No. Did you ever see the one interview he gives where he talked about how he often played golf, and he's like, I have no goals or ambition. I do, however, wish to work enough to maintain whatever celebrity status I have, so they will continue to invite me to golf tournaments.
Well, Naked Gun gave him a resurgence in his career. He kind of leaned on the comedy part more.
Yeah.
He apparently had a biography called The Naked Truth book.
Oh yes.
And I kid you not, I did used to see some of his infamous golfing tapes at used bookstores. I was like, of course. If you're going to have anyone teach you about how to golf, why not Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen and Tim Conway. Dorf and Dorf on. Oh
Yep.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Conway had a show, Ace Crawford, Private Eye.
Yes.
Ace
I have a
Crawford.
vague memory of that, but I don't think I ever caught any episodes. I think
Not
I
too many
saw.
people. Not too many others did either.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, well, riddle me this: is he the best or the worst ship captain in for Poseidon Adventure?
He's the worst.
It's just so funny
Don't worry,
because
we
people
can-
defending it because they love him as an actor. It's like, well, everybody's kind of incompetent except for Gene Hackman in that movie.
But like, I'm watching. I'm like, I can imagine Frank Drebin being on the, like being a ship's captain. Says, Captain, it's a 30-foot title. Don't worry, I think we can handle it. Yeah, ship.
Oh, that reminds me of the clip I sent with him, in Star Wars.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Yes.
Mazel tov.
Oh my god. There was this one stupid Leslie Nielsen movie I used to have on tape that got released under a few different names. It was like Something Revenge, and it's not much of a movie. It's totally an Antenna Channel type movie or Mystery Science Theater Elvira worthy movie, but you should just see it just for him attempting to do kung fu.
Oh my god.
It might be Institute for Revenge or something. It's one of those cheapies that got syndicated, and you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Well, I mean, he never. Here's the thing. I mean, I remember him being on Saturday Night Live a few times, and one time, and then that was it. But every time the Naked Gun would come out, I remember the last Naked Gun movie that came out was
94.
94. So when it came out on video later that year, they had the poster up.
Yes.
So where I was living at the time, there was a place called Video Den. So Video Den had the poster, and of course, OJ's picture is on the poster. So they took little pieces of black tape and put it on OJ's posts.
Yes.
The poster looked like prison bars.
Oh
Holy
my
shit.
God.
Oh.
Okay, I found it. Project Kill.
Oh my God.
A
Project
former
Kill.
government assassin flees a mind control program in the Philippines, pursued by his ex-partner, the local police, and Asian gangsters. It's on Tubi and Plex, if you want to watch it. Co-stars Gary Lockwood and Nancy Kwan. I'm not making this up.
Nancy Kwan, huh?
Yeah,
Nancy Kwan.
baby. It's one of those just goofy movies. Just watch it, make your own commentary. It's just... Oh.
No, we could try to killdozer that bitch.
No! Oh, man.
I love them in the Airplane, though. Airplane, he was just like...
He's on fire.
I mean, Airplane, he just gives the lines. It's just like a hospital, is it? It's a big brick building with a lot of sick people in it, but that's not important right now. Yeah.
It's not important right now. And see, that's what I love too. Is like it's just making fun of just cliches. Is like all these movies they've seen are probably noteworthy for having awful subplots and stories that don't go anywhere. So it's just so funny seeing a hero in a spoof movie just say something like that. Oh, but by the way, that's not important right now.
I can't remember his dialogue, but my wife tends to bring this up with me whenever I use the word Shirley. Like, Shirley, you're kidding or something like that.
Anytime
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
And don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, that's it.
Anytime I see someone's hand shaking, I'm like, you got a drinking problem?
I just want you to know, good luck. We're all counting on you. I love the part which is the captain and the pilot are fine, and they have gone on to lives of spiritual fulfillment.
What?
You take a big chance getting up in the morning, crossing the street, or sticking your face in the fan.
Oh, Lord Almighty. And there's no point in saying what's your favorite sketch, because like there's so much. Where would you go? Like the whole movie is one big skit.
I still love the line which is, and I heard Ed is pregnant again. Yeah, and if I find the son of a bitch who did it, I'll kill him.
Well, I got to cross that off the list now. You said it.
Oh man.
I mean, I've literally watched I've watched the Naked Gun 1 and 2, 3. I'm not that big on because there's a lot of stuff they kind of like threw in.
What's your favorite?
It wasn't as well thought out, I don't think.
No, fair enough.
And you had people like Anna Nicole really couldn't deliver kind of on that kind of humor.
Well, true.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I was talking earlier, like
her to.
But I was like, Anna Nicole Smith. There's so many people in there died. Some of them died too young, like Anna Nicole Smith. Shannon Doherty had a cameo in it. She died recently.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had like James Earl Jones and Raquel Welch. They passed away recently as well.
My favorite cameo in any of those movies is the police car pulls the car over and Zsa Zsa Gabor comes out and slaps the thing. And happens
that was one of their
time I go
shopping. That's one of their opening police squad car shots. Yep.
I love that. It happens every fucking time I go shopping. Oh, Jesus.
Which one does OJ get electrocuted in? And then
one.
Okay, so one, but I love how he's just like, Oh, not the paint. It's like the paint is the least harmful thing.
Well, yeah, he's like he's getting all moved around and everything. He bumps into the paint. And he goes, "Oh no!"
OJ.
He's being shot, but the paint really bugs him.
I gotta say, OJ's a good actor. He fooled everybody.
I fooled everybody.
I fooled everybody.
Except for a jury.
Oh.
Too soon?
Oh.
Johnny Cochran was like Bud Abbott, and I was like Lou Costello.
There's a scene where he jumps in on these guys. I don't remember which Naked Gun it was, but he jumps in with the gun, and all these guys have their guns out and they're pointed at him. And he says, "Drop your weapons." And one of them drops their weapons, and they all look at him like he's nuts.
You know what's great about those Naked Gun movies? I got the idea of wearing all the black stuff.
Oh.
No one can see you in the dark if you got a mask on.
OJ, you're going too far. Have another drink. No, I got a better idea. Oh,
you
man.
know, Juice, if I were you, I'd go back and tell her, this is what I'm saying. Because if I was in your shoes, which are really nice Bruno Molly's, I would just tell her, look, I love you and all, but don't,
Now, what, okay, so Police, or Naked Gun 33 and a third came out in 94. When was this whole thing? What year did that whole thing with OJ happen?
94.
94.
Yeah,
So that was
that's
a bad
why
time
I
for
was
that movie.
saying it's so awkward when the VHS material is coming out and he's in the publicity material.
because I can remember that night.
That highway chase.
Nicole and Ron. I'm watching Game 6 of the NBA Finals, the Knicks versus the Rockets, and what happens? They cut to this chase. So I'm like, they have the chase on, and they've got the game on. It's kind of like a split screen. I go over to ABC to watch it, and Peter Jennings is doing it. And of course, there's the famous prank phone call that someone sent in, pretending to be like Mr. Robert J. Well, I'm behind the bushes here, and I see OJ, and he looks scared. And Al Michaels is there, right? And like Al Michaels knows this is a fake phone call, like 2 seconds into it. He's like, well, I'm very tense right now with what's going on, and I'm literally just like I had a sprained ankle, so I'm literally like just laughing. And my mom goes, "What's the matter?" I said, "Somebody's cranking into freaking ABC News right now. You have to watch this." So at the end of it, he goes, "And Baba Booey to you all." And Al Michaels, Peter, I think that was a crank phone call by somebody, because the last sentence he said was a allusion to a certain disc jockey that is on the air right now. And Peter says, "Okay, thank you, Al. We'll take that into account." And the thing is, we got interviewed on Stern later. Al Michaels like, "I've been to OJ's house. There's no bushes in front of his house. It was
Oh Lord, and that's just again when life imitates art, and I mean Stern. It's not the first time that he does a prank call and everyone thinks it's the real person. And you're just like, tell me you're stupid without telling me how inept you really are. It's like, really, you thought that was the real person? Fine.
I didn't know this. George Kennedy was lobbying for that role in the Naked Gun series.
He really wanted it, huh?
He wanted it.
It is 6 years later. The guy that played that character in the TV show, he didn't do it, but I didn't know why exactly. I can't remember the actor's name.
Alan North.
Yeah, and I wondeed why he wasn't in it.
Not
I didn't
Peter?
know those.
I'm just kidding.
He was in a different kind of naked movie, if you know what I mean.
Wow, chicka wow wow.
Hi, I'm Peter North, and this is Little Peter North.
I actually showed my wife my naked Peter.
Oh,
but at the time she didn't know it was my naked Peter from Family Guy figure.
I was gonna say I went to got my Peter once, and I got beat up by a giant chicken.
Well,
did Peter trump that chicken?
I got you all
man.
I took my Peter out one time, and all I can say is this. I can't say it because I have to keep 50 yards away from her now. But
I went to got my Peter and said, "Hello, I'm Peter Graves as Peter."
to this day, I still can't believe Peter Graves and James Arness are brothers. You know, I can't believe that to this day.
Would
They
you
don't
ask for
look alike.
anything
Are they
else?
full-blooded brothers?
What were they?
I mean, I know they're brothers, but are they full-blooded brothers? I wonder. 'Cause
Yeah,
they don't look a
yeah.
lot alike.
No, they are. I think they're full blooded. Yeah, because I think Peter's the
Not
younger
hot-blooded?
James.
Well, we could check it and see.
Well, yeah. I was hoping for someone to sing Foreigner. I'm sorry, being an asshole.
I don't sing further. I'm American.
Oh, I see.
American.
America.
America, fuck you, America.
I love that scene in Mr. Science Theater's Werewolf where you got the groundskeeper. I'm going to join the NRA.
You know, Dracula was a faggot. Oh, that's good to know. You know.
Oh, man.
I just watched that the other day. They were on the Turkey Marathon.
Did you really?
All right, all I'm going to say is this: Richard Lynch, for all the movies that he made, this
Good
is
actor.
his most subtle. Yeah, great actor. 7 Ups. You know, this is the most subtle performance ever.
Larry
He's not
Cohen
even
stuff.
He's not even being the bad guy. He's just the scientist who wants to take the guy and study him. The real bad guy is the guy who's like the 15 different hairstyles in one movie. You know.
Yes. Jorge Rivero is like, it's a big transition from Werner Herzog to this. You're just like,
Wait, what Werner Herzog movie was he in?
he was in the one with the giant ship.
Oh shit, who did he play in that?
He's one of the bare-chested dudes.
Seen him in other things, but I can't think of what they are.
But yeah, he's another one of those guys. You look at his credits, it's just like direct video, then telenovelas, then Real Lobo, and you're just like, what? What a weird ass career. And again, that crazy hairdo that changes in between shots. You're just like, oh,
werewolf? A werewolf?
oh, werewolf. I love how this became a Mystery Science Theater podcast.
A werewolf?
Oh man. I'm surprised Leslie Nielsen didn't do a host segment like on or a promo for some of those kinds of shows like Elvira and what have you. It'd be perfect. No, I'm mistaken. He's not in Herzog, but he's in a bunch of popular westerns like The Last Hard Man and
okay.
So mistaken, but that's the other thing too. Like a lot of these guys were legit for a while, and then it's like you see them in just movies where you're just like, how'd you get here again?
Well, I mean, you know, Martin Sheen's brother.
Yeah, Joe Estevez, still friends. Try to get him back on here one day.
if you got him back on here, I would flip out because I know he dubbed some of his brother's dialogue in Apocalypse
we
Now.
could close the chapter and be like, okay, so which scenes besides the trailer did you dub?
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, The Naked Gun is like subtle sight gags and out, you know, gut busting humor. You know, that's the way you got to balance it out. You know,
and you couldn't
90
take
minutes,
your eyes off of it.
Yeah, 70 to 90 minutes. Have a score that reminds you it's absurd. You know, da 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 da. You know, it just.
Well, how about whenever they do those, you know, like amazing stunts and stuff, you can very clearly tell that they, you know, they substituted in someone else wearing a white wig or something.
Yeah.
Yes. But see, that's where it gets even funnier. You know, it's like we're not looking for that in an absurd movie. You know, that if anything, that only makes it more charming. You know.
Oh, you know, and then there's a scene where Ricardo Montalban's in the stadium, and he's taking Priscilla Presley up the stairs.
Yes.
And it cuts to a dummy, and you can very clearly, very obviously tell that it's a dummy because he's shaking that thing all over the place. And the arms are just going all akimbo.
I think that's the great thing about it. They want to strip away the veneer of everything,
Yes.
and put that in there,
The naked absurdity. See what we did there? But I mean, because this is it. Like, nothing is left untouched. It's just, and I've lost track of how many times when people are in a chat and someone proceeds to use the multiple face palms gif.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, man.
I've done that with a few Bitmojis.
You've really screwed up when everybody's giving you the face palm.
I think the thing I love the most is like when he's calling the game, and he just goes like, strike.
Yeah, like a question. Strike?
Right?
And then he starts getting into it and starts dancing all over the place.
Whatever scenario it's in, whether it's a music hall, stadium, or I forget where part 2 concludes, but it's also wacky. It's just like, it's always just an environment to where you're going to get even more absurd. It's just,
Jesus, you've been swimming in raw sewage? Yeah, and I love it.
Oh my God. Oh, how about when he gets out of the car and there's all those cashews and not cashews.
Him and George Kennedy have like their lips are all red, and they walk out. He opens the doors like a mound of them all over.
He has to shove the door to get out. Yeah,
yeah, I love it. And George Kennedy's like, "What in the hell's name?" Yeah, it's just. So I had no idea. I didn't know that he fought for that role. Was he just tired of doing all those awful TV and disaster movies?
I think he just wanted to cut loose. I think because he'd seen what it done for Leslie Nielsen and Robert Stack and all them. How they were taking this. How they just did this one movie, Airplane. It's just like a lot of the older actors like, oh yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. You just got to let me. Here he was an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
And he was doing comedy,
Oh. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh. Man.
Well, and then I remember the third one, the scene where like they see they're in a bunker looking at the explosion going off, and Fred Ward's characters make it sounds like he's like Beavis and Butthead or something.
No, I love it when the guy crashes into the fireworks factory and like he's like, go away. There's nothing to see here. All this stuff's going off in the air, There's nothing to see here.
Well, isn't that the first movie is like they got some guy with a bullhorn, he's a cop, and he's saying, and there's like only 2 people out there.
There's only 2 people there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this is the most inept, understaffed station ever.
And I love that they got John Houseman right before he died as the driving instructor. Now, Stephanie, this man has cut you off. I want you to look at him, put your arm out, make a fist, and extend your middle finger.
All right, Stephanie, gently extend your arm, extend your middle finger. Very good. Well done.
Oh
man, is right.
Well, and then when is it when he's retiring where he does the line, just think next time I shoot someone, I could be arrested.
Wouldn't it be funny if a real life criminal said that? It's like, the more history repeats itself.
What's so funny was Anthony James. You remember him from he played the creepy limo driver in Burnt Offerings. Remember, wow. Anthony James. He's in that movie, right? And he plays.
I definitely have seen him in the Buck Rogers episode.
So he's in the Naked Gun, right? And she's singing this song like "Memory," and he goes, "Memory."
Oh yeah, he's the bad guy that's going into
Priscilla Presley's house.
Right. Yep.
And I literally started laughing because here's this guy who was like always like playing like creeps, and he was great in
Vanishing Point, where he played like like he played this creepy guy with the other guy, and like here he is, like you see him, you start laughing hysterically when he starts singing.
I remember him from Blue Thunder and a few other things.
I saw him as far back as like early 70s is in a movie called The Teacher, where the guy,
I remember that.
where the kid who played Dennis the Menace was in that.
Jay North,
as a teenager,
You might remember him from that one season 1 Next Gen episode, but yeah, now that you're bringing him up, I have seen him. I didn't know the name, but man, I have seen a good chunk of his stuff. Much like Leslie Nielsen, ironically, he isn't in a lot of stuff that Crown International Pictures puts out. They must have just had those. All these genre actors are going to be in our drive-in movies.
He kind of reminded me of Reggie Nadler a little bit. That face just gave you the chills. But it was like when you saw him like do something like that, you were hysterical funny because here's this guy who's played like killers.
For those that don't know,
he was shedding a tear even.
For those that don't know, Reggie Nadler you would know as vampire Kurt Barlow in Salem's Lot. I'm just giving a disclaimer for everybody
Face
listening.
the master.
Yeah.
Put down the cross, holy man. Face the master. Your faith against his faith.
That's really good, actually.
There's nothing you can do against the master. Oh, you want him to slit the boy's throat? You want him to do that, Father, don't you? Put the cross down and let the boy go.
Took me a minute. You're quoting from Salem's Lot, aren't you?
What?
I said you're quoting from Salem's Lot.
Oh yeah. I have watched that movie incessantly, and all I'm going to say this right now is, the more I look at Kurt Barlow, the more I can only think to myself is that there's a picture I have of Reggie Nadler with like a gold medallion and that's like from the 70s. It's a picture of him with some friends at somebody's house. He's wearing like a gold chain. He has like a gold chain on with like a button down shirt unbuttoned a little bit. And I'm looking, I'm like, that guy scared the shit out of me as a kid.
I bet.
Well, I know in The Teacher he played a bad guy.
Oh yeah, Anthony. Oh yeah, he was a
psychotic guy. Yeah.
Bow chicka wow wow.
And on a side note, I would not recommend going to Salem's used car lot.
No. Would you like a car? The master would like you to have a car. Right, master? Yes. This 74 Pinto. This 74 Lincoln Continental. Guaranteed safety and any speed. Right, Mr. Barlow? Right. Here's Striker, Salem's used auto car lot. You'll have the best cars. From foreign to domestic.
Of course, since you mentioned the master, you also have to bring up the master would like you to have. The master would like you to have 4.5% interest on this loan.
Torgo's used car lot. Torgo, how much for this 75 station wagon? That would be about $3,000. But he can't have it. No, he can't have it. I have to have it. But you can't have it.
You'll have to leave the lot soon. Yeah. You will have to leave the lot. It will be dark soon.
The master doesn't like these kinds of cars. Only ones with pizza in them. I love that music.
I'm Torgo, and I have a used car lot now. It's a nice car lot. It's on the corner of La Cienega and Buchanan. You can come here whenever you want. The girls will take care of you. Yes, the Buick. Yes, but the Chevrolet. No,
and I don't have a used car lot. I'm too flat-faced for that.
Buick, yes. Chevrolet,
Buick, no. Chevrolet, hell no.
I'm Peter Graves, and I go to Torgo's used car lot.
Yes, the master enjoys the fact that he comes here.
If I had my druthers, I'd be coming a lot more places because I'm Peter Graves, and I'm horny as hell.
There's a whole new coming, doesn't it?
Thy priest should be righteous, thy ceremony holy, thy sales are up this year because we have followed the rules from the short hired.
No need for Torgo to be the gray before he became the white. He was already gray AF.
I was reading about that. That guy, I think that guy killed himself before the
Yeah,
movie was even.
somebody Reynolds, and he was just the reason we make fun of how he was walking, but he really was in terrible pain.
Yeah, he was supposed to make satyrs knees, like satyrs legs.
Yeah,
but he had them on the wrong way.
Yes.
Now
you're just making me wish Leslie Nielsen was in Monos. Because as we know, Leslie Nielsen makes everything better. He's just, I really don't know why he's so good at it, but other than, again, he's classically trained and
because he plays this straight.
I know he plays it straight and everything, but like even then to just still the show in even the most stupidest random role is just like cast him in anything, it works. He's a counselor, he's a president, he's a chief of security.
He's a cop.
He's a cop.
He's a bad cop on the loose.
He's a womanizing thief. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It makes sense. He's Leslie Nielsen, and he's looked the same way for all his career, and somehow it works.
Almost says the fact in the second one, Robert Goulet played the villain.
Robert Goulet. I'm Robert Goulet.
And he
if ever I would leave you,
Was he one of the special guest stars in one of the episodes? I think he was.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
It was a callback. I missed that.
Well, Florence Henderson was also, she shows up in the third one.
I think so.
think.
And
and she's in an episode. Yeah.
Right.
As one of the guests that dies.
Yep. James, your doppelganger.
I heard the room. No, I heard the rumor at that time that Belushi was going to do one.
What?
And they stopped it because it was something where he was like, he overdosed. Like the thing was he like dies or something like that. And I think they had to put something else in. I always heard that rumor.
Wow.
But she was going to be a special guest star?
Yeah. Tonight's guest star, John Belushi, was supposed to be him.
So on the Lost Media Wicca, apparently they filmed a scene with him, but they cut it due to his death.
Yeah.
And he would have been again one of the other special guest stars, and I guess they were like, let's just not.
Yeah. So they 86 that.
So they replaced him with William Conrad. That was the episode. So whichever one that one is, that's the one they refilmed. Wow. I had not a clue.
No.
Well,
that was kind of like...
He was on life support. Doctors say he's got a 50-50 chance of living, though there's a 10% chance of that.
Gotta like these odds. Yeah.
Yeah. Where is Nuremberg? He's at Our Lady of the Worthless Miracle.
General Custer once said, I got a chance. Oh.
General Custer, there's 5,000 of us, and no, there's 300 of us, and like 5,000 of them. What are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna go down, aren't we?
America,
you're gonna go down there. I'm gonna see. I found out like Custer won the battle of Little Bighorn. This is so weird. He told like most of the army to stay back, while the rest of them were like, they were gonna try to like take on the Indians.
Seriously,
and the Indians are just going. We'll be out of here by like, I don't know, 12:30.
I knew he had a big head on top of those shoulders. I didn't realize it was that bad.
What's that Dustin Hoffman movie where he takes on
Little Big Man?
Little Big Man.
Little Big Man, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's that guy's name? He's from Empty Nest. He plays Custer.
Richard Mulligan. Does the best I think that's how George Custer was in real life. Just an arrogant son of a bitch.
Vain.
So vain.
I'm gonna wipe out the you try doing that, buddy.
Oh man.
You had it coming to you, putz, When the Sitting Bull says that. What does he say? What does he say? What did he say to me, General Custer? One deka toho tika honatea. Pisima toko hotatan pakadisa pakoto totonkotea. What did he say? Well, he said, General Custer, that you're up shit creek without a paddle.
I think we got a chance. I think we're good. I'll pretend that what you translated was alternative facts. Yeah, let's go, man. Let's go.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, even bringing up Richard Mulligan, he would have probably been someone that could have done.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
I mean, I would have been fine had it even been Robert Stack and some of the other serious guys. They probably wouldn't have done it because they were just so sick of all those laughable premises, even if they were spoofing it. So, I mean, yeah, I couldn't have found a better one with Leslie. And
you can't, like, well, it's like, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, he showed his chops with Airplane. And so they were pretty confident with him going into, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. It's just,
yeah.
And so, don't you just love how freaking Police Squad comes out in that same year? TJ Hooker also comes out, but it's not in on the joke.
Yeah.
It's just like Hollywood just loves just going in every direction, just firing off. It's just like, what are we doing?
Well, TJ Hooker was Formula TV, so
yeah, exactly.
No, don't get me wrong. I watched every episode, but it's just.
Wait, he's at the police academy first, then he goes off to do I don't get that.
He started out at Starfleet, and then he goes to the police academy.
Oh my god, the episode where he's arresting Leonard Nimoy, who's like a former cop going vigilante, is just so funny. It is impossible to watch it without having your own commentary. You're just like, what's going on here?
I'm putting you under arrest.
Well, I'm going to have to put you down, you damn fool.
That's what they like to call stunt casting.
That was total stunt casting. Too bad everybody was playing it straight.
I'm watching the episode with Leonard Nimoy. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, it was so bad, but it was so funny.
They're making jokes in the back of the car. I'm going, come on, get on the Enterprise bridge and do something.
Every other LA actor, model, future procedural TV star is on it, and you're just like, they're going to get tackled over the hood of a car in 40 minutes, aren't they? Yep, sure enough.
Showing up.
Captain, if I may say so, 17 years from now, we're going to be on a TV show where you play a cop with a bad rug on his head, and I play a cop who goes vigilante. Spock, no, that's not true. That can't be possible. Did you go to the City of Forever through the Guardian of Time? No, Captain, I just saw our careers flash before my eyes and it didn't even look interesting.
Oh, you're going to be surrounded by a beautiful model. We'll call her Heather Locklear, and you're going to have the bailiff from Night Court be the captain.
Can I just say one thing? That was the first time I think in the universe that Heather Thomas and Heather Locklear were on the same channel all together.
Oh,
I'm always getting those two mixed up.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah,
that's the antimatter matter of TV heart.
Two Heathers are better than one? Question mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
God, I can remember watching that show. My grandmother used to watch TJ Hooker all the time. Hooker's a good guy. Tonight on TJ Hooker. Hooker tries to find Hooker. Wait, who's Hooker? Who's a hooker?
I made fun of that too. I was just like, I remember once doing that to my parents, just as an April Fool's joke, just showing them the theme song, and they're like, I feel like I just died inside. Oh, man.
I went down a rabbit hole because I was looking into this because I was kind of curious as to what would be considered the first parody film.
Yeah.
And I found something from 1905 called the Little Train Robbery.
Train Robbery.
A parody sequel to the iconic The Great Train Robbery, and it stars children in the parts. So now I'm going to have to try to see if I can find that on YouTube. And
wow.
And it made me think of Bugsy with Scott Baio.
Bugsy Malone.
Oh my God.
Bugsy Malone.
In 1905, so it would have had to have been a silent film, I would think.
Oh,
and we talked about the Little Train Robbery. That made me think of the Terror of Tiny Town.
Oh God.
Whoever came up with that, with the premise for that movie, was either a real weird guy.
Who was in that one again?
Brilliant genius.
That wasn't children, though. That was midgets, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Who was in it again? And how many of them were from Wizard of Oz?
I would say yes.
All I can remember is that it was supposed to be shown in 70 millimeter, but they could only show it in like 12 and a quarter millimeter.
Is not even close.
In one scene, there's a great chase. What happens? Well, they're on ponies and they're riding through the. That's not what we want. Yeah.
No.
And it brings up Carry On as like spoof movies as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go. See, if it doesn't go back to Manual, it goes back to Carry On.
But I think the Carry On movies are more like British music hall spoof. Because I mean, I'm
not
just
quite
saying,
body humor.
Not quite body humor, but they're funny. I mean, I love Carry On Cleo. That's one of my favorite ones.
So mine was also Carry On Camping.
They all got an infamy. What was that?
Carry On Camping and Carry On Girls. Those were my favorites because I got to see all those girls running around skippy clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
don't forget about Carry On Luggage.
Carry On Luggage.
And one that's very popular in Kansas, Carry On, My Wayward Son.
Oh.
Now we're getting into Supernatural.
I love it. The only other actor I can think of who would have been perfect to be in a straight face parody role might have been around this time, might have been Robert Ulrich.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could have seen him doing that because you just seeing him in all these other interviews and how he always jokes about what beautiful people he was playing off of and keeping it together in very dramatic scenes. It's like he does come off as the kind of guy who's like, yeah, he's got a sense of humor.
Well,
I think he did a movie called Ice Pirates, which was
Yes.
Yes. Roger Corman makes us do crazy things sometimes, James.
Ice Pirates with the Hellboy guy.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman,
Ron
maybe.
Perlman.
And Angelica Houston's in it.
Yep.
Oh, yes. She embarrasses herself quite a lot there.
And I'm thinking, with the new Naked Gun that's coming out, we're going from Leslie Nielsen to Liam Neeson.
Oh.
And I will say that if they do not include a scene that ripped off Taken, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
Well, I think Liam Neeson can carry it off.
Oh, yes, he does have a great sense
especially
of humor.
after all his previous collaborations with Seth, even though they were all cameos. It's like, he's willing to do it. He's at that stage of his career. I mean, he's basically this generation's Charles Bronson now, and Charles Bronson had his share of, hey, I can do a comedic Western, I can do drama. It's just...
Oh, come on. From Noon to 3 is great to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing. The comedy Western.
Jill Ireland.
Yeah. You Can't Win 'Em All was another one where even though it's an action movie, he's just playing it up, camping it up the whole time. It's just... ask these actors the right way and let them gain their trust. They will do anything for you.
I always say let them be funny if they can be funny. If they can't be funny,
some of your favorite dramatic actors are class clowns behind the scenes.
Well, I can see Liam Neeson doing the delivery just the way that Leslie Nielsen does. Very deadpan.
I've heard it all just about. I've heard how Mandy Patinkin would do pranks behind the scenes. I hear Mariska Hargitay's a prankster. You would never know it from the on-screen persona. I hear during the making of A History of Violence, Viggo Mortensen, for whatever reason, just could not stop laughing. So Ed Harris just decided to drop his pants. It's like, is this funny now? Is this funny now? What are we doing here?
Well, the thing I said about Leslie Nielsen is that he did, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
That's Liam.
I would love to have
Neeson.
seen Leslie Nielsen in more westerns. I know what you mean. Yeah, that was fun. He's in Ted 2 as that one bruised up guy who keeps buying stuff late at night at the store. Yeah.
I'm not sure he was the one who actually got the flower in his butt. He had to use a stunt double for that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But
we just got an X.
But with him,
huh?
But when he,
huh?
What happened? What? Huh?
Meanwhile, back at the podcast.
I don't know if you're intentionally doing a dramatic swag.
Here's a guy who doesn't know where the podcast is going. Okay.
Hi, thanks, Jimmy.
That guy over there says something. That guy over there says something. Boom.
You're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about the naked gun over here. You're going to talk about a little bit of the police squad over here, and then maybe talk about some of the other movies. And you bring it around to Leslie Nielsen and talking about Liam Neeson, who said, "I don't know who you are."
I'm a wizard, baby.
I sound like Sean Connery on the phone right now.
So if, they mentioned Liam Neeson for the new movie, but who would play the other parts?
I saw all kinds of names thrown out, and we're gonna get it later this year in 2025, so just in time. But yeah, I was looking at it, it's like, Jesus, everybody's in this damn thing.
Hold on, I'm gonna look.
Now,
I believe.
Do you think it's going to be rated R?
No, they'll try to keep it PG-13. I'm sure.
Yeah. Sure? You sure? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Michael Caine didn't pop up there. Hello, I'm Michael Caine.
I'm Michael Caine. I was retired, but I'm back here already. Good Lord.
Miss Norberg, I think we can save your husband's arm. Where would you like it sent?
All right, so here's what you got in there. You got Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, I saw that.
Paul Walter Hauser. Kevin Durant, Danny Houston, Liza Koshy, CC, Cody Rhodes, CCH Pounder, and Buster Rhymes.
Was Pam Anderson being a love interest then for Liam Neeson or something? She gonna be the Priscilla Presley character?
I think she's gonna just be a cameo or a witness as herself.
No.
Really?
No.
I don't know, man. Whatever. Hey, it's a spoof movie. It doesn't matter.
Well, and you think about with the Naked Gun movies, you had 1, 2, and 3. You had Leslie Nielsen with a relationship with Priscilla Presley's character, and it carried out through each film. It wasn't like she was replaced in the next one, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because you know how they go into a sequel movie, and then the one that he was caring about so much in the first one is gone.
Yeah. Making fun of the James Bond trope. It's like, whatever happened previously is inconsequential.
Still looking, James?
See what they got here.
But yeah,
they got a lot of good. They got some good people in there, but
I guarantee you, Danny Houston's going to be the bad guy. He's just always the bad guy.
Well, who's that one guy that's in Orville with the red beard and red hair?
Oh, Scott Grimes from.
So he's probably going to make
Scott Grimes. He'll probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's done numerous voiceovers for Family Guy, so yeah, I'm sure.
Family Guy, American Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's starring all the movies that Seth MacFarlane's put out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the great thing about Scott Grimes is I remember him being in Critters.
And when he was a kid.
Yeah. When he was a kid.
The one that's in,
just a boy.
Is he the brother that's in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
No, that
was somebody else.
It was Keith Coogan, I thought it was him for some reason.
Keith Coogan. That's Keith Coogan.
Mm.
In fact, I was friends with Keith Coogan on Facebook before my thing got hacked. So there's a picture of him and Scott Grimes, and I'm like, finally, Keith and Scott in the same room together. We know who they are.
In the same movie together for the first time ever. Yeah. Who do you think Busta Rhymes is going to be? One of the bad guys, or just a random thug he arrests?
He might be a cop. No, don't laugh. Cause remember, Tone Loc was a cop in
Yeah, that show.
Ace Ventura.
That's true. That might be what it's a reference. It might be just in general. If they're not a bad guy, they're playing a cop. Just rappers.
Well, who's the one that was on a TV show with the guy who played
Ice-T?
Robin and Ice-T? Okay, I can't remember the name of the TV show, but
Law and Order.
Law and Order, SVU.
Well, and remember he was
ICU.
I see. Remember he was also on New York Undercover.
Yeah. He makes a song called Cop Killer, and yet he's playing a cop. What do you know?
It's just so ironic how that song was satirical, and yet
yeah, it's just a song. Everybody was going nuts, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I heard.
He's not promoting violence. He's just saying something wacky that'll happen when you hunt a homie who's not too keen on you hunting his brother. It's just But fortunately, we're in the 2020s now, not the 90s, where everything must be boycotted.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I don't think the humor can bite as hard as it used to with the way things are now.
There are still, unfortunately...
Well, I mean, I take that back. Deadpool was pretty good. I thought Deadpool...
Deadpool.
That's a good example. That it's like it's there. It's like you somehow have to twist it in a way to where you make all the morons go in the opposite direction, like where they check out. They go, I'm out. I don't know what's going on. So they don't open their stupid mouths, And all the people who do get it, they rewatch it. They love it. They can keep quoting it, explaining the joke and why it works. But unfortunately, it seems like it's just I just blame marketing nowadays, because name the last 5 movies you've seen and then ask yourself if the ad really told you what it was really all about, or if it just showed a random scene with no context. Coming soon,
I'm telling. Whenever I try to check out movie trailers on like Fandango at home, they're not trailers, they're clips from the movie.
They're just clips. It's like Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And it's always the most awkward scene where you're like, I don't know what that's about. I guess that's well acted. What is that really about again?
And now that I think about it, Deadpool's kind of like the superhero equivalent of Naked Gun in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
very much so. You have to pay attention to what's going on.
And you got to have a cowboy in it, bro. Yeah.
No, of course. It's like the scene I cracked up and howling in the theater when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I've talked about this before, but when they were coming out and doing a slow motion scene in the background, it's Liefeld's
like
only
a prayer.
feet.
Like a prayer, yeah.
No, not like a prayer. It's Liefeld's only feet.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about like sign in the background.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That I was the only one in the theater who got it.
Well, we must have been in the theater at the same time then.
What's the sign says in the back? What?
It says only feet.
Liefeld's
because
only
Liefeld
feet.
he can't really draw feet very well.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember seeing that. Yeah. He can't do feet that well when he's drawing shit. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mine was I loved the scene where Chris Evans shows up, and everybody's all expecting Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then he pops out and goes, "Flame on," and I'm like, I should have seen that coming. And I didn't.
I think the one thing is that it parodies itself, and that Reynolds was in on the joke with us, like doing all this shit for these movies, like like the part I love is like they can't get the real cast, it'd be too expensive, and the door opens up and there's the cast of X-Men, And they shut the door again. You know?
In the background, yeah. That was is that the second one? I think that was the second one.
Yep, it was the second one.
Yeah. And then I think the love thing I love in the beginning of the first was, we're trying to get another superhero with the name Polverine.
Rhymes with the name Polverine. That's right.
Rhymes with the name Polverine. Yeah. I just started watching the first one and the second one again, so I can watch the third one. Because I watched the first one and the second one on cable when I had cable, so I was like watching that when I was home, and I was on the floor doubled over in laughter with like all the jokes and stuff.
Yeah, I will say that if you even remotely remember the pre MCU, the Fox movies, you will get a lot more out of it than if you just go in just knowing the first two movies.
Yeah, it's sort of a swan song to those Fox Marvel movies.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
What was it? It was X-Men 2,
X-Men 3, The Last Stand, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Blade 1, 2, and 3, Elektra, Daredevil,
Punisher, yes.
Was Venom
Sony?
Fox? Oh, Sony. Okay.
Yeah.
Sony. Yeah.
I thought there was one other Fox movie. Well, then there was Fantastic Four 2015.
Ghost Rider was
Sony.
Ghost Rider.
Sony.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just for a while. It's just like, so when you asked people, was it good? Was it bad? You never got a consistent like take. It was always like, well, I like the comic. I'm like, that's not what I asked you. Did you recommend the movie? Do I have to read the comic to get the movie?
Well, yeah, those movies didn't do the comics. I mean, didn't do justice to the characters, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah.
X-Men did all right, but they still didn't really do justice to the characters.
Well, I'm glad we're having the Bryan Singer talk, because for a while people would go, oh, the filmmaker, the guy who's the last credited one is running the show. Is like, well, not always. In this case, he had a good crew and he was doing jack shit.
Well, I remember things like the character Sprite played by Elliot Page, but was Ellen Page then. And they gave her character.
Was it Kitty Pride? Well, it wasn't Kitty Pride.
Kitty Pride.
It was Kitty Pride.
It was Kitty Pride. Okay.
She had a few different names. I was remembering like her first one, they called her Sprite or whatever.
Well, and all the toxic behavior, same deal. It's like good effects, like it or hated story, and then you got Brett Ratner misbehaving again. It's just
but
like,
she did, but her character didn't have. I mean, they gave her powers that she didn't have in the comics at all.
No.
It's like, okay, they even established her as a girl that's walking through walls and stuff, and then in the next movie, she's got these total time travel type powers that make no sense. It's like, where did that come from? You know.
I mean, X-Men Apocalypse I liked, because to me that was Days of Futures Past.
Yeah.
Apocalypse was the one. I mean, just I don't know, the overacting in that and Dark Phoenix just really killed it for me. I was just like, okay.
Well, Dark Phoenix kind of disappeared, and it was like
it came and went pretty quick.
No one was proud of it. And then don't get me started on the New Mutants, where you're just like, okay, so this was originally rated R. Antonio Banderas even filmed a key segment, and it's been re-edited. Disney just took over Fox, doesn't even want to acknowledge it. They're just like, let it die.
Shove it out there and just watch it die.
But
well,
see,
I think
you'd think they'd be wanting to cash it in, especially when Sony and Fox were playing these tricks for a while. It's like, why do you just dump these movies and pretend they don't exist?
I want to say that the New Mutants movie was originally supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah,
and just involving these characters. I think that it didn't. I didn't see the connection when I saw the final product, and just seeing some of the things that they talked about. It was like, how do you make a mutant movie into a horror movie without messing up the entire reason why they're there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
they're not just five or six random people thrown together because they're weird. It's because they're not going to play the typical horror
No.
Characters. They're going to be vastly more powerful and able to. You throw a Freddy or a Jason at them, those guys are going to smoke them.
I found that New Mutants movie to be a little too meandering. It didn't.
Too many cooks.
Yeah, it didn't gel very well.
Who helmed it? The editor, the studio, or the filmmaker? Yes. It's just like I would
Everybody
hate
wants
to.
this movie. Take a step forward. All right, you all take a step forward. You can all do this movie. I mean, I can remember watching X-Men Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Deadpool scene in that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
it just felt like a very incomplete movie when I saw it. I'm like, there's some fun moments, but who is this for? Is this for a Rambo crowd? Because it's not much of an X-Men movie.
but then to watch Deadpool 2 with the end credits and him just writing the wrong of what happened, he's like, I know there's going to be a time you're going to hang up the claws. You know.
Well, where he comes in and shoots that other Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he kills Green Lantern or Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
This is the greatest script ever written. Bam. Thank you, Canada.
And I will tell you, this weekend, because I watched Naked Gun TV show and the movies, I'm going to pull out my Sledgehammer DVDs and watch them now.
Yes.
With, I think it's, what's his name? David Raish? Is that it?
David Raish and Harrison Page.
Yeah.
I remember watching those shows, and they did it where he blew up the city in the last one, and then they retconned everything for the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't go that far.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
It all goes back to Naked Gun.
It actually had a second year, which surprised me. I didn't think it was going to have a second year when it got
out.
Sledgehammer. Oh man.
They even had a comic book made from that.
Yeah,
yes,
really?
they did.
Wow.
All right.
If your movie's not good, just make it a parody.
Yep.
Case is dismissed.
Did anybody like Shriek?
If you know what I did last summer?
No, it was called Shriek, and it was a spoof of Scream.
That's the one. Yeah, if you know what I did last summer. Yeah, that was like a Showtime movie, HBO movie. Yeah.
No, I never saw that.
No.
It had Tom Arnold in it, and what's her name from Saved by the Bell?
Tiffany Teveson. Yeah. Coolio, Danny Strong. Yeah, all kinds of people. Julie Benz. Yeah, that was one of many horror parodies, but it had some okay reviews. It was one of those. It seems like, again, just you can find all these wacky spoof movies. If you didn't find them the first time, just look them up. You'll find them, and you'll be like, "Hey, still better than a lot of today's stuff."
I just watched the other day. I watched Gremlins from the Kremlin, the old Warner Brothers cartoon.
Oh,
who the hell thought that up is a freaking genius? That's got to be.
What was that?
It was Gremlins from the Kremlin. It's supposed to be Adolf Hitler is flying a bomber over to Moscow to bomb the crap out of it.
From the Kremlin.
Yeah, we are gremlins from the Kremlin. You know,
I haven't heard of that one.
This is a comedy animation from 1940.
Oh,
music by Carl Starling.
Yeah, who did the?
Wow. Robert Clampett directed. Lou Lilly wrote. Merry Melodies cartoon.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like it just makes Hitler such a freaking jackass. And there's like one part where a car comes in and says, "Silly, isn't he?" But there's one part where they do this thing which is, "You're a gremlin from the Kremlin." He goes, "Yeah, gremlin from the Kremlin. How do you do?" That's supposed to be a takeoff on the old radio character, the Mad Russian. How do you do? Yeah, they did that. It's weird to watch. It's like kind of surreal to watch, but it's funny to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that, and then I watched the one Duck Amuck, which is one of my favorite ones.
Duck Amuck.
Heard of that one, but I can't recall it.
This one where Daffy Duck gets trapped in all the cartoons.
Yeah.
I have. Yes.
I want to see. It turns Bugs Bunny. He turns to the camera. Ain't I a stinker?
Yeah, he erases his beak a few times and draws stuff on him. Yeah. I am Spartacus. We need more of that. Just
when it comes to spoofs, they did those gladiator type spoofs.
They did that. They did Shakespeare, operas. They did all kinds of stuff. And
I'm trying to think. What did you guys think of Awesomus Maximus or whatever it was?
Oh well, it was watchable.
I didn't see that. I saw us Meet the Spartans, and I thought that
I liked Awesomus Maximus better than Meet the Spartans. Meet the Spartans, I thought was very disappointing.
That was bad, but yeah, Awesomus Maximus. That's one of those. There's some funny stuff. I think it would have been better as like either a web series or just with a bigger budget. But yeah, if you're a Will Sasso fan, you might like it. But if not,
then you're not a Will Sasso fan.
Well, now Will Sasso is playing Georgie's father-in-law.
Yep. I can't believe they got him to be on that show because I knew he was doing a podcast, and they got him to be on it, and I was like, man, that's Sasso? Holy Christ! I can't believe. I remember him being really, really heavy on Mad TV, and then he lost all that weight, and he looks good. He looks good now, but I couldn't believe that was him. I was like, shit, I'm that old now.
Well, he was showing up and doing some pretty good stuff in what was that show called Mom? I think it was. Where
he was on every other sitcom. He had his share of recurring roles and other stuff. But yeah,
what was that show with what's her face? Where she was shit. She was on ABC, and she was on ABC. She was kind of a chubby girl, and she got, I'm trying to remember what show it was.
Oh yeah, that guy. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know.
It had that one guy who did that one thing
on
ABC. And the guy with the pants.
Are you talking about? She was in. Is it the same girl that was in like Big Bang episode where she was dating Leonard or something in like the first season?
Yeah.
The one blonde girl.
No, redheaded.
Yeah.
I used to know her name, but I can't think of it right now.
That redhead girl. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Hang on, I can look it up.
I actually have a movie with her in it. Where she's lost weight. And she took her top off in it. I can't remember what it was called.
Well, that's specific.
Less Than Perfect.
Less Than Perfect. Okay, so
what was her name?
It was Sarah Rue.
Sarah Rue.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
If she sells red hair, it's gonna be Ruby, Ruby, Roo. That was bad, even for me, Casey Kasem.
Yeah, I've seen her.
The countdown.
I've seen
Casey
her.
Kasem would have been a great action star.
I've seen Sarah Rue and stuff. She would probably do a good in a spoof or a parody movie. I never think she gets enough attention in any other shows she's in, though. She's always like a background character that only has a small part.
Yeah, usually. I don't know.
Yeah, they made that show more about her being a full-figured woman than anything else, which is nothing wrong. But over the course of the series, she lost 30 pounds. Her figure became less of a focus of the series, which okay, fine.
Yeah. Whatever works for you, man. Laugh track and all.
Let me see here.
Trying to find that movie I was trying to talk about. Oh yeah, For Christ's Sake is what the name of the movie is, from 2010.
All right, so another Will Sasso movie. Got it.
Yep.
Oh, every other comedian. I mean, especially with Bill Hader on Barry, I'm down to give them wacky spoof role. Just go for it. Just make sure you're making use of their talents and it's not just relying on nostalgia. Oh man.
And just to clarify, for Christ's sake, the movie's about like these people convinced this priest to let them shoot a porno in the church or whatever.
Oh my God.
That almost sounds like there was a show that Michael Rosenbaum did, where he
yeah,
he was a
Impastor.
fake preacher. Impastor,
Yes, that was fun.
She's also listed in that one.
Oh well, so there you go. We've seen her more than we realize.
And somewhere in there's either Michael Caine or Kevin Bacon.
We'll connect them to it somehow.
Hello, Pastor. I'd like to do a confession.
If it's really discounted, then we'll just look for a Danny Trejo connection.
Well, you just reminded me, my cousin, I said she was in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. She was hanging off Dick Miller's arm in a scene.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was I was just watching Police Squad tonight, and he was in an episode of Police Squad.
Yes.
Oh,
I
forgot.
I think it was one of the Joe Dante episodes.
And so I'm like, that just makes me what? My cousin was on Dick Miller's arm. Dick Miller was in a scene with Leslie Nielsen. So that's what, 2 degrees of separation?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you got to do, man, to connect it. Oh.
Gentlemen, I bid you adieu for tonight.
We gotta turn in.
I will see you next week.
I'll sleep well.
Yes.
As they say in the old country, hasta la bye bye.
As they say in some countries, this is buenos noches, which means more nachos.
What? No.
Good nachos.
No, I said, as they say in some countries, buenos nachos, which means more nachos for your order.
And don't forget, via con queso.
When I was in Germany, there was a waitress that wanted me to say my order in German, and I didn't know any German, so I just said uno beer.
Why didn't you just say schnell? Hurry, get it.
Schnell.
Schnell.
Only
Schnell. Yes, sir. Not you, Schnell. I meant fast. I meant go faster. Quicker. Yes,
speaking to the horse.
Not you, quicker. I want no. From now on, I speak English the whole time. From the chief detective.
Of course, if you were in Canada, they'd have to be Schnell.
No,
Dudley Do Right.
Yeah, we just Dudley Do Righted this conversation.
No, there's a scene in the Chief Detective where it's like 3 Nazis are going towards the airfield, and Nicole Williams going, Schnell. Yes, sir. No, not you, Schnell. I meant quicker. Yes, sir. Not you, quicker. I meant faster. From now on, we speak English the whole time. Yeah.
And you just brought up another parody movie,
another starring a future detective. There you go. Yep.
No, he was already a detective. He was already doing Columbo by then.
Oh, okay. So that's even then, like you said, it's a comedy movie, so that's awesome.
What was that? Was he was also in Murder by Death?
Murder by Death, yeah.
Murder by Death. The Hitchcock movie.
I always think the cheap detective is better than Murder by Death. I'm sorry,
really?
But oh yeah.
Oh, and he also played a head.
They're not exactly the same type of parody, though.
I kind of had fun.
The Murder by Death was more of an Agatha Christie type of thing, while Cheap Detective was more like a Bogart thing.
What's the one William Devane Hitchcock movie?
Family Plot.
That's the one. Yeah, I think that one's a little better.
Okay, question. Does anybody remember a TV parody movie with Tony Danza playing Beretta type character?
Murder Will Kill You.
Murder Can Hurt You.
Murder Can Hurt You. Yes,
hurt you.
And it was John Biner and Jamie Farr like Starsky and Hutch. I remember Burt Young was like Columbo. Who was it?
Connie Stevens was in there.
Played Kojak. Yeah, Connie Stevens played like policewoman.
Gavin,
Sergeant
what's
Salty
his name?
Sanderson.
Wow.
Sergeant Salty Sanders. Buck Owens was like McCloud. He was called McSky.
Yep.
Wow.
Sky.
And Jimmy J.J. Walker played Parks the Pusher.
Yeah, Parks, and Victor Buono played the character like
Don Adams is the narrator. My God,
Don Adams is the narrator.
Burt Young.
Burt Young, yeah, and
Lieutenant Palumbo.
Palumbo.
And who was it? Victor Buono played Ironsides.
Called Iron Bottom.
Iron Bottom, yeah.
It's apparently also known as No Jack and Company.
Yeah.
I apparently have seen it, but I do not remember this. That's awesome.
I remember, I thought we talked about this one time on the Gilbert Gottfried page that I'm on. I remember I said,
right.
I thought this was
I think that might have been where they shared it. Yeah.
I thought this was a fever dream. And all I remember is like at some point, what Jamie Farr's character gets like stuck on a balloon.
Yeah.
Well, then Connie Stevens wears some fake boobs too to look like Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, I remember that very, very clearly. And at the end, it turns out Palumbo's wife was the one killing everybody, or trying to kill everybody, because Mr. Palumbo wasn't giving her enough time at home. I remember, and Liz Torres played the wife. I think Liz Torres was
wow
the wife in that. And Roz Kelly was Roz Kelly who was in disguise, like Roz Kelly's in it, and I think, or was it Roz Kelly or was it the other one?
Yes.
No.
I don't know.
No, Anita, what's her face? The one who was in 10 or 9 or she's in it too.
Played Raquel. Roz Kelly played Virginia Trickwood. Liz Torres plays Miss Palumbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Don Adams narrated on it.
Yep.
But yeah, I was trying. My wife and I were watching something, and it just suddenly dawned on me: why do I picture Tony Danza as a Beretta type character? And I'm like, oh my God! And I went down the rabbit hole to look for that. And I'm like, yeah, I saw this movie, and it came out in like 1980.
Yep.
I guess just with all these rediscovered spoof movies, people just need to start having more like movie clubs where they just play these over Zoom or at private gatherings.
Yeah.
Well, nothing will top Rustler's Rhapsody.
Oh, the Western with Tom Berenger. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Rustler's Rhapsody.
And Andy Griffith as a bad guy.
Oh my God. I've seen that one. That movie is so weird. Oh my God. G.W. Bailey's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mary Lou Henner.
Mary Lou Henner's in it. She plays a woman who basically, like, she's a prostitute with a heart of gold. She just talks to guys. That's all she does.
Well, she was in another one that was a parody movie, Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah.
Yes, with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
But the best part of
singles.
But one of the best parts of Rustler's Rhapsody, Patrick Wayne playing the bad guy. And
I remember.
I'm a lawyer,
Patrick Wayne.
Doesn't he get called in to kill Tom Berenger's character?
Yeah. At least we made it far for this episode without mentioning Spy Hard.
But the twist was that he was another good guy or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He was. So that was the big twist in the
craziness.
Well,
hey, better than Spy Hard.
Hey, you know what? But you know what? Talk about you want to talk about great parody movies? Support your local sheriff. Support your local gunfighter.
There you go.
I have both of them.
James Garner, right?
The end of support
with what's his name who plays the big-eyed guy,
Jack Elam.
Jack Elam. Yep.
Because what do you do with Miss Horse? I shovel. I take care of the horses in Miss Orr's house.
Wow.
No, the end part is your local gunfighter is like, he's like, yep, they got married, they had 5 kids, and they finally moved to Australia. And me, I became an actor in Italian westerns.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show.